This is Alexander the Great, a man, a force, a living legend. They called him Megas Alexandros, the greatest of the great, and for good reason. By the age of 30, Alexander had conquered an empire that stretched from the sands of Egypt to the peaks of the Himalayas. He united desperate people under a single vision, leaving behind not just a legacy of power, but a blueprint for ambition itself. But what was it about this man, born in 356 BCE in the kingdom of Macedon, that set him apart? Was it sheer force of will, a brilliance of strategy, or something deeper, something unquantifiable? Let's find out. Because Alexander wasn't just a conqueror, he was a teacher. And his lessons? Oh, they're as relevant today as they were on the banks of Granicus or the gates of Persepolis. Let's break him down, not in a dusty academic terms, but in a way that hits home. Because if Alexander's mindset can take a teenager from a minor kingdom in Greece to ruling the known world, imagine what it could do for you. The story begins with his mind. Alexander wasn't just a warrior, he was a student. His tutor, none other than Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers of all time. Under Aristotle's guidance, Alexander learned not just military tactics, but philosophy, ethics, science, and the art of persuasion. He read devouring works like Homer's Iliad, a copy of which he carried everywhere, annotated and tucked under his pillow. Alexander understood something crucial. Before you conquer the world, you must conquer your mind first. His curiosity wasn't passive. It was voracious, an appetite that drove him to question everything and everyone. Why stop at the borders of Macedon? Why accept the world as it is? What if, just what if, you could reshape it? This is your first takeaway. Curiosity isn't just a trait, it's a weapon. It opens doors, it breeds innovation, and, as Alexander knew, it's the foundation for ambition. Whatever your field, business, art, relationships, ask yourself, are you still learning? Are you still hungry? Alexander didn't just think big, he thought impossibly. He saw the world not just as it was, but as it could be. When he took the throne at 20, following the assassination of his father, King Philip II, the odds were stacked against him. The Persian Empire was the superpower of the age, a colossus stretching across 3 continents. Macedon, a backwater. But here's the kicker. Alexander didn't see Persia as untouchable. He saw it as his. While others saw borders, he saw bridges. While others saw obstacles, he saw opportunities. This vision wasn't some vague dream, it was strategy. Every step of his campaign, from the bold crossing of the Hellespont to the siege of Tyre, to the decisive victory of Gaugamela, was calculated, purposeful. But more than that, it was fueled by an unshakable belief in his destiny. Here's the lesson. Dare to think bigger. Not just bigger than your peers, but bigger than yourself. If your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough. Vision isn't about what's probable, it's about what's possible. Now let's talk about charisma. Because Alexander didn't conquer the world alone. He inspired people to follow him, not out of fear, but out of love. His soldiers weren't just fighters, they were believers. They marched thousands of miles, endured brutal conditions, and fought impossible battles, all because Alexander made them feel like they were part of something larger than themselves. How did he do it? By leading from the front. At the Battle of Issus, Alexander didn't hide behind his phalanx. He charged headlong into the fray, his sword flashing, his voice booming. He bled with his men, ate with them, laughed with them, and they followed him, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Be the example. Whether you're leading a team, a family, or just yourself, people will follow what you do, not what you say. Want respect? Earn it. Want loyalty? Show it. Want greatness? Embody it. Alexander's military campaigns weren't just about brute force. They were masterclasses in strategy. He used terrain to his advantage, outmaneuvered larger armies, and adapted to every change. At the Battle of Guacamela, he faced an army twice the size of his own. But instead of being intimidated, he outflanked the Persians with a daring plan that exploited their weaknesses. Here's the mindset shift. Every problem has a solution. Alexander didn't see obstacles, he saw puzzles. And puzzles can be solved with enough creativity, persistence, and yes, audacity. So the next time you're faced with a challenge, channel Alexander. Step back, analyze, think not just about what's in front of you, but what's around you. The answer is there. You just have to find it. What truly set Alexander apart was his refusal to settle. After defeating Darius III and effectively claiming the Persian Empire, he could have stopped. But Alexander wasn't wired that way. He pushed further into India, chasing new horizons and new challenges. His men begged him to turn back, exhausted and homesick. But Alexander, ever the dreamer, ever the doer, pressed on. Now let's pause here. Because this trait, this insatiable drive, is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it made Alexander immortal. On the other, it's what ultimately led to his undoing. After his death at 32, his empire fragmented, unable to sustain the weight of his ambition. Relentless drive is a gift if it's balanced. Push hard, yes, but don't forget to reflect, to rest, to ensure that what you're doing or what you're building can endure. 2,000 years later, Alexander's name still echoes, not because of the lands he conquered, but because of the ideas he spread. He's credited with fostering the Hellenistic era, a period of cultural fusion that blended Greek, Persian, Indian, and Egyptian traditions. His cities, from Alexandria in Egypt to Kandahar in Afghanistan, became hubs of learning and commerce, shaping the course of history. True greatness isn't about what you take, it's about what you leave behind. Alexander's mindset wasn't just about winning, it was about creating, about building a world that outlived him. And that, my friends, is the ultimate measure of success. So what's the Alexander mindset? It's curiosity and vision. It's leadership and strategy. It's drive and legacy. It's a reminder that the only limits are the ones we place on ourselves. You don't have to be born a king to think like one. You just have to start. Now, the call to action. If this story lit a fire in you, if it made you see the world and yourself a little differently, do me a favor. Like this video, leave a comment with your biggest takeaway, and hit that subscribe button, because this is just the beginning.